I just finished reading Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time for the third time. And in this video, I'm going to share with you my top 3 takeaways that you can implement in your business today to buy back more of your time and build your empire. My name is Gabriel Ryan, and for the past 17 years, I've been helping entrepreneurs get more leads and customers and grow their businesses. And I'm excited to take a little bit of a different approach in this video and share with you what I'm reading. Practice for me every single day. It is one of my 5 non-negotiables because I believe that leaders are readers. And it just is phenomenal to me to think that there are individuals like a Dan Martell who are doing hundreds of millions of dollars in business and can give me 15, 20 years of experience and put it into pages like this. And then I can just get that information and apply it into my business. So let's dive in, because there's this idea of, buying back your time, which, I think for the most compelling or the most successful entrepreneurs really understand that really separates them from the masses. The middle class or the employee mindset is typically one of where I'm going to spend time to save money, where the entrepreneurs go, oh, I will spend money to save time. And then really when you get to the empire builder level, you're talking about trading money for more money. But let's just start with step 1 first. And that's the ability of being able to spend money to save time, because then you can turn that into more money. And, while money is something that can more can be created, more can be earned, we can never get time back. And so that's why this book has been so integral to me. In fact, probably 17 years ago now, when I started my first business, I remember sitting down with a mentor of mine, and I wanted to start a photography business. And I asked him, I said, hey, what should I do? Should I start an LLC? Should I, how do I do my marketing? How am I going to get clients? What should my workflows look like for editing photos? And what album company? I'm asking all these questions. And he's like, Gabriel, whoa, he's like, slow down. He's like, do 2 things. You just need 2 things. He's like, you need to take 100,000 photos, which he was telling me, basically, you need to get really good at your craft. You need to learn and in the trenches and actually get really good at this thing that you're going to sell. And then the second thing he said, number 2, you need to read this book. And he gave me the book, The E-Myth Revisited. It talks all about building a systems-based business. And really for the past 17 years, the E-Myth has been at the top of the hill, top of the pile for me in terms of like that number 1 business book that I return to over and over and over again. I will tell you, Buy Back Your Time has replaced that for me. E-Myth is still up there, and there's some incredible wisdom in there. In fact, there's a lot that you can tell that Dan takes from E-Myth, but this Buy Back Your Time is now number 1. So let's dive in. What are the 3 things? The first I'm going to go to here is what Dan calls the replacement ladder. And this is in chapter, let me see what chapter it's in here. This is in chapter 5, is the replacement ladder. Because one of the first questions that I know I've found myself asking, a lot of entrepreneurs ask, is like, who should I hire next? How do I know when it's time to hire and who to hire? And Dan quite literally gives you the order and the sequence that you should be hiring in your business. And there's different ways of looking at this and understanding who is on your team versus not. So if you're a solopreneur and you're just getting started, that makes it really easy, because the first rung on the replacement ladder is going to be admin and hiring a personal assistant. I actually have a new assistant that's starting on Monday. I've had a number of assistants over the years, and following Dan's method, he talks about handing over the administrative tasks in your business, which for a lot of us who like to have control of things, might be difficult. For you, it might be something where I know for myself personally, at least when it comes to email, I'm like, please take it. I know some of you out there are like, oh man, I couldn't imagine somebody being in my inbox and responding on my behalf. But Dan gives you a system in the book for doing this and kind of working your way through the replacement ladder, starting with the administrative tasks. So if you're writing these down and taking notes, I'll just share with you the order that these things go in. So the first rung on the ladder is admin. So if you don't have an executive assistant, even if you have other folks on the team, but you don't have that role filled yet, that's going to be the first hire. And what you're going to do, what are you going to give that person? They're going to be in charge of your inbox and calendar. If you don't have this person, a lot of times you probably feel stuck and overwhelmed, just because if you don't have an assistant, that means that you're your assistant, and you are probably worth a lot more than the amount that you could pay to have someone fill that role. The next kind of constraint or thing on the replacement ladder that you would want to delegate out is going to be delivery, the actual client success or delivery of your product or service. And so he's talking about in here in the book, they are in charge of onboarding and support. A lot of folks, they might hire a personal assistant and then they'll go to hiring a sales team. They're like, oh, I want more sales, so I'm going to hire a salesperson. But the salesperson is actually the very top of the replacement ladder, just under leadership, I guess, before you would hire like CEO, COO, C-suite type of execs. Because, if you are doing any sort of like founder-led sales, most entrepreneurs have some sort of sales skills, and it's really hard to be an entrepreneur if you don't know how to sell. That's one of the most critical things that you can be doing, especially in the early stages of a business. So one of my biggest takeaways from Buy Back Your Time is the replacement ladder. Learn it, study it, and just work through it, because Dan literally gives you the sequence of who to hire, what they should be in charge of, what order to do it, and even gives you a way of kind of sensing where you might be at if you already have team and maybe you've hired beyond your capacity or not. He gives you really great tools for that. The second thing is something called the camcorder method. And this is I believe this is in the playbooks chapter. So there's a chapter called Building Playbooks, which is, I think, chapter 7. So building playbooks. What's a playbook? A playbook is a manual, an instruction guide, an SOP, standard operating procedure. And really, this goes back to the eMyth stuff. And I know that Dan had actually hired an eMyth coach back in the day. I had as well too, back in 2008, 2009, I think it was, right after I read the book for the first time. I hired an eMyth coach, and they really helped me understand how to build systems and processes so that I could bring other people into the business. And even if I was just the one doing the task myself, I could do the same task more efficiently, save more time, and repeat the same result over and over. So every time, for example, that I had a new wedding to edit, I had a process for how those images were downloaded and backed up to make sure that I never lost an image, and that I was able to effectively deliver the goods to our clients over and over and over again with that kind of like repeatable result. What's amazing about the camcorder method specifically, it's really changed the game in terms of how I build systems and processes, whether they're for me, but especially in working with team and especially in working with clients. So what the camcorder method is, basically, if you don't have a system or a process or a playbook or an SOP for something, it just says, okay, all you need to do is turn the camera on, quite literally. And you can use, if you're doing this on your computer, a screen recording tool like Loom is my favorite. They have really incredible AI tools into their summaries and titles and things. But you could literally even just record it with your phone. You turn your phone on and record yourself doing the job. Now, the important piece here that I've found when applying the camcorder method is to make sure that you actually bring the internal dialogue external. And what I mean by that is this. If you are clicking away on your screen, and let's say like for us, we're building automations and workflows, or I'm installing an AI assistant, an AI bot into somebody's business, there are things that I am working through internally when I am making certain decisions, why I'm clicking certain buttons. So it's important to actually literally verbalize those things out loud. Here's what I'm doing here. I'm going over, as I'm filling out this automation, I'm going to go check the client's profile or their website to see what products and services they have. That's why I'm clicking over here. So it's important to externalize that, because when you communicate that out loud and it's recorded, now this is something that somebody else can watch, and they can not just see what you're doing, but they can understand your thought process and how you think. And when you can transfer that thinking knowledge, that your thought process, your literal thought playbook, like your process of thinking through things, when you can transfer that to someone else, there is incredible freedom, and you will certainly buy back your time. So camcorder method, that's number 2. Number 3 is in the only 4 time hacks you need chapter. So specifically on page 150 is the sync. It's hack number 2, and that are sync meetings with repeat agendas. How many of us hate being in meetings for meeting's sake? Just meeting after meeting after meeting. I know I do. I'm not a fan. But Meetings can be such a powerful tool, especially for managing processes that need to happen on an ongoing basis. So, like in our company, for example, we've got client success. So there is a sync meeting for client success to stay on top of whatever inquiries are coming in from clients, things that come in that are maybe out of the norm that we don't have a process for that need to get escalated, troubleshooting through things, collaborating with the team, rather than interrupting folks throughout the day, every single day from morning till night. We have these sync meetings on the schedule so that assuming something is not a 911 issue or problem, it can just be added to the next sync meeting. I do this with my business partner as well. We've got a sync meeting with a set agenda where we go through Jeremy's list and we go through Gabriel's list. And in between those meetings, if something comes up that I want to talk with my partner about, I simply add it to the list. Now, if it's 911, of course, I'm going to reach out right away. But if not, it goes in that sync meeting. And what that does is it compresses time. It consolidates all of that energy and focus into just that 30 or 45 or 60 minutes for that sync meeting, and frees up the rest of my time throughout the week. Not to mention the fact that now those items are documented and we can work through them much more effectively and more efficiently. So if you have not yet, you've got to pick up this book, Buy Back Your Time. Again, for me personally, it's taken the #1 spot as far as like the best business book. And if you like this video and want more of these kind of book reviews, I'm happy to share. Right now, I'm reading through the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership with John Maxwell, my favorite author on leadership. But I'm happy to share kind of some more of these book reviews, because what I have found is the books are helpful and I love reading. And even if I just find one thing inside of a book that I can apply into my life and business, it's worth it. But what I've found really beneficial too is understanding how others use that information, how others are like other entrepreneurs and leaders and colleagues and peers that I look up to. If they read the same book, what did they take away from it? How are they applying that in their business? So I want to share that with you so that you can apply some of these ideas, so that yes, you can go and get the book and decide, hey, is this one worth reading or not? But more importantly, understand, oh, what are some of the nuggets that I might want to be looking for that I can harvest, install into my business, and grow your business as well. So if you like this video, go ahead and smash subscribe, hit the like button, drop me a comment, and jump on my newsletter. It's totally free. Every single week, I send out my best stuff, my best playbooks, training, strategies, you name it. No strings attached. There should be a link in the description below where you can jump on my newsletter, totally free. And we'll see you in the next video.